Hey, it's William McCoy here with the ReturnUs podcast episode. This one specifically is centered around how to create a deck. And what we mean by deck is these are going to be the materials that you're going to need to be able to give to investors or showcase to investors when you're either trying to raise money through either individual investors or through a reward-based crowdfunding platform, Karuti. So some of the things that we talk about here is going to be very easy to be able to do. I personally think that AI is a amazing tool, and so you'll see me promoting AI to be able to do this. And so this is really centered around how do you use GPTs or AI systems, prompt systems, in order to create these things pretty quickly, or adjust them the way you need to if the need is there. So we'll get right into it. One of the first things, the three things that you'll need. So the first thing you'll need is an executive summary. You want to make that executive summary no more than 300 words. And the reason behind that is because investors are used to getting a lot of things. You wanted to make it really, really succinct, right? So you want your first thing to be an executive summary. Then you want a pitch deck. That presentation should be no more than maybe about 5 slides, 10 at the most. But you want to hit certain things, certain topics inside of there. And then finally, once you've summed it up, you want to go ahead and put together a business plan. Business plan shouldn't be hundreds of pages long. Typically, you're probably looking at about 2,000 words. It's really a tie-in from your executive summary to your pitch to more detail. And so we're going to go right into it. So I'm going to utilize chat, and I'm going to share the screen so that you guys can see in real time how this will end up working. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up. And while I'm getting that pulled up, again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at returnus@karuti.com, or you can go to our site, karuti.com, and you can contact us that way as well. So I'll give you an example of what it looks like when you pull up chat. Let me share the screen here. All right, so the first thing that we're going to look at is the 5-minute presentation. I know a lot of people want to get right down to it. Honestly, the executive summary is just as important as the presentation, but I'll go ahead and get you to the presentation first because I know a lot of times people want to look at that. So in the presentation mode, right, if you're looking at a presentation, you have a few steps in order to put it in the chat. First thing you want to do is you want to define your goal in the audience, craft a one-line value proposition, and then you want that script for each slide to be 1 minute to maybe a minute and a half long, and you want to rehearse it until you get it to about 5 minutes, right? Examples of this would be here, Cold Chain X. You want the problem and solution on one demo, on one slide. You want the market size and how the tech works on another one. And then you want, if you have a real estate asset or a team or some type of other product or whatever you're trying to relay, you want to relay your experience and your team's experience right here. Finally, you want to have a slide where you kind of sum everything up with both a business model, and then if you're going to have a fifth slide, you want a funding and a call to action for that investor or that backer. Now, the way that works out in real time in chat, let me pull up a chat. You can also set up your chat to have things already set up, business ideas, so you can plug in things, entrepreneurs, so on and so forth. But let's say you wanted to go ahead and put together a presentation really quickly, right? So you have your business idea. You would simply put in as a prompt, please provide me, and I like to put please in there just in case the robots take over, at least they know I was a nice person. But please provide me with a 5-slide pitch presentation for my company, Cold Chain X, that provides Kenya. And provide stats. Okay. So if you have a short period of time and you want to get something done, you have a business idea, you want to start getting juices flowing at least, that's what it's really designed to do. It's not necessarily designed for you to make it as detailed, at least in this one. I'm not going to show you how to make it super detailed, but it's to get the juices flowing about your idea and to put together something so that you can start moving towards a more detailed, more nuanced deck specifically for your company. Now it's going to sit here, it's going to find some information, specifically because I said provide stats. If I just said put it in, it probably would have brought back something pretty quickly. But because I said put in stats, it probably is going to take a few minutes longer to go ahead and make it happen. In that time period, you can be sitting there and thinking about what are the nuances that you have for your company, and then eventually it's going to put together the presentation. Now, it looks like, from what it's saying here, retry Nairobi skyline image, it's actually trying to give me the actual deck, which is crazy. That's even bigger than what I've asked for. Typically, it gives me just a punch out. And so if I show you what the punch out is, and while that's working away, it'll give you this example, right? So I've already done it. Problem solution on one slide, it'll give you some stats, right? It'll give you the market size. It'll give you the asset and team. It'll give you the business model. Now, this is too much to show on a page to investors. And what we see a lot of times is that people will try to fit all of these things onto the page with an investor. You have to think to yourself that if an investor or somebody else is looking at this and you're going 1 minute per slide, because that's about as much time as you have, this is too much information for them to try to process. So what you want to do is you want to turn these into statements that they can clearly see. And if you want to describe more of this, then you can. So what that ends up looking like is these statements, no more than about 20 words on that slide, and then really emphasizing it. Cold storage, waste, energy, and products, right? Cold chain nets cuts 30% costs and stops spoilage with smart cooling. You want these to stick out to the investor because those are going to be what they're paying attention to. And then if something you say catches their ear, they may ask you more about it, and so you can go into more detail. You also want to keep the font on that slide or on that pitch about 30 inches or 30 points font, because you really, really want them to go ahead and be able to see very clearly what you're trying to relay without squinting. Otherwise, they go inside your head and they try to listen to you, and a lot of times that just won't work well. So this one is still working. Let me try this another way. Let me just say Nairobi, Kenya, so you guys can see. Good. So then it spits it out really, really quickly, right? Perfect. Now, the next thing you do is you summarize that. You say to it, please make each slide no more than 20 words long, and provide a title no more than 6 words long that emphasize the idea of the slide. So then what it does is it spits it out really, really easily for you, right? 20 words, it even gives you a title, and then you're good to go. Now, what you want to do is you want to then take that and say, okay, now let's move on to the executive summary, right? So in case you didn't have time to watch the rest of this video, at least you have an idea of how to make a slide deck that's going to make it very clear. To give you an example of what that ends up looking like in real time, let me open up to you what it looks like. This is what it ends up looking like in real time, right? You end up with a slide deck that looks just like this. 4 slides, 5 slides. You can even use all these, by the way, all these images were AI generated. So nowadays you can even use AI images to put in and relay better to what you're looking for versus trying to find stock photos to fit. So that's what your slide deck ends up looking for. That's the way it ends up looking. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to say, chat, please provide me with a 300-word executive summary to match the presentation and provide some references. So then as you can see, it'll go ahead and put in, it provides you a 300-word executive summary. I typically say 300 words. And the reason why I express 300 words is that is about as much as you can fit on one page, letter size. And if you want to put an image of whatever you're going to put in there, whether it's your logo or maybe your website that you're working on or maybe your product, you can put that in there and then also have your logo without it going in 2 pages, and you'll have more than enough space, right? Anything over that, you run the risk of it going to 2 pages, and honestly, you really want to try to keep your executive summary down to about 1 page, very clear font, 12-point font, so that they can read very easily, and then you can have your references inside of there. Last part that we're going to go through is we're going to look at how to create a business plan. So with the business plan, you do the same thing. Please provide me a business plan no more than 2,000 words with go to market strategy and competition chart and clear call to action for initial funding and the need. Okay. Once you put that in, right, this will literally spit out a business plan for you. It will have references a lot of times. If you wanted to make it have references, just for the sake of this video, I did not show this part. But if you wanted to have references and things like that, it will go on to have references for you. It'll give you problem statements. It'll give you go to market. As you see, it's spitting out the solution here. Your target market, what that's going to look like. It'll go out and give you a lot of detail. Competitive landscape, right? And then all the other details that you may need. Funding, clear call to action, right? And then they even give you some next steps that you can end up creating. So with that, you take all of this information, you take these 3 things, and those are typically the 3 things you're going to need. Now, once you have your outline, right, and it's better than outline because it gives you some real information that you can use, then you start to research the references. Then you start to narrow down with chat to say, okay, can you do the executive overview to include this specific reference? Can you do the problem statement to include this specific reference? This is something that is specific to our industry. Can you include that as well? So these are the ways that you can quickly, in about 10 minutes, right, create your deck, your presentation, which includes your executive summary, your presentation deck, and then also your business plan, and then drill down to the other items that you may need. These are going to be things that investors are always going to ask you for, or people are going to look for as indicators that you are doing what you're doing. And then most importantly, find some way that you can show that you have traction. Traction is very important to investors because it shows them that you are moving in a direction and not necessarily waiting for funding. So with these three things and showing and presenting in here your traction, typically you can find the type of investor who is going to be interested in you. I hope this helps. We will continue to post these things. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions you may have regarding any of the information that we provided. As always, continue to focus on your business in Africa, how to scale it, and then get it involved locally. Also, continue to follow us on ReturnUs.com, the podcast. And then also, if you have ideas for your pitches, please feel free to submit them to ReturnUs.com/pitch. You can do that there very easily. You can also put a YouTube video if you want to give us an example of what you're trying to make. And then stay tuned and continue to follow Karuti.com so that when you're ready to go ahead and put your crowdfunding into motion for reward-based crowdfunding, you can go ahead and launch your campaign right there. Thanks again. I hope this is helpful. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll talk to you soon.